Most people believe life becomes complicated because the world is complicated. More responsibilities, more expectations, more information, more choices. So naturally, life feels heavier. But what if the real problem isn't your life? What if the real problem is the way your brain has been trained to think? You might not realize this, but the modern mind is constantly overloaded. Every day your brain absorbs thousands of decisions, notifications, opinions, comparisons, and expectations. And slowly, without noticing it, your mind becomes cluttered, not with physical things, but with mental noise. Thoughts, what if I fail? What will people think? Am I doing enough? Why does everyone else seem ahead of me? These thoughts pile up quietly, and the more they pile up, the harder life feels. Yeah, but here is the surprising truth psychologists have discovered. A complicated life is usually the result of a complicated mind. Two people can live in the exact same world. One feels overwhelmed, the other feels calm. One feels trapped, the other feels free. The difference is not their circumstances. The difference is how their brain processes life. Your brain can either turn life into chaos, or it can turn life into clarity. And the most fascinating part? Simplicity is not something you find. It is something you train your brain to create. But here's the uncomfortable question most people never ask themselves. What if the complexity in your life is actually coming from your own thinking patterns? And if that's true, what exactly inside your mind is making life harder than it needs to be? Let's start with the first hidden trap your brain falls into without you even realizing it. The invisible mental clutter running your life. You might not realize this, but most people are not overwhelmed by life. They are overwhelmed by their own thoughts about life. Imagine waking up in the morning. Before you even leave your bed, your brain has already started working. You check your phone, messages, news, social media, emails, and instantly your mind starts comparing. Someone is traveling, someone is succeeding, someone looks happier. Your brain quietly whispers, "Am I doing enough?" This is where mental clutter begins. Psychologists call this cognitive overload. Your brain is trying to process too many signals at the same time. And the strange thing is, most of these signals don't actually matter. But your brain treats them like they do. Think about how many small decisions your mind processes every day. What should I wear? What should I eat? Should I reply now or later? Did I say the wrong thing yesterday? What will people think if I post this? What if I make the wrong decision? None of these thoughts feel dangerous, but together they create constant background stress, like dozens of apps running on your phone at the same time. Your battery drains faster. Your mind works the same way. Every unnecessary thought drains mental energy. And when your brain is constantly drained, even simple things start to feel difficult. This is why some people feel exhausted, even when they haven't done much. Their brain has been thinking nonstop. Now here's the mistake most people make. They try to simplify their life. They declutter their house. They organize their schedule. They buy productivity apps. But none of these things work long term, because the real clutter isn't outside, it's inside your mind. Simplicity begins when your brain learns one powerful skill: ignoring what doesn't matter. Not everything deserves your attention. Not every opinion deserves your energy. Not every thought deserves your belief. But most people treat every thought as important, and that's where the chaos begins. The people who live simple, calm lives are not living in a different world. They have simply trained their brain to ask one powerful question: does this actually matter? If the answer is no, they let the thought go. But here's where things get even more interesting. Your brain doesn't just create clutter, it also creates false urgency. Weighing in this next mental pattern is one of the biggest reasons life feels more stressful than it should. The illusion of urgency that keeps you stressed. Most people feel like everything in their life is urgent. Messages need quick replies, goals need immediate progress, problems need instant solutions. But you might not realize this. Your brain is terrible at judging urgency. From a psychological perspective, your mind evolved to detect threats. Thousands of years ago, urgency meant survival. If a predator appeared, your brain had to react immediately. But today, the brain still reacts the same way. Except now the threats are completely different. An email, a notification, a comment, a deadline, a small mistake. Your brain treats these things like emergencies. And when everything feels urgent, life starts feeling like a constant race. But here's the truth. Most calm and successful people understand. Very few things in life are actually urgent. Think about the moments when you felt the most overwhelmed. Usually it wasn't one big problem. It was many small things happening at once. Your brain was jumping from one worry to another. Reply to this. Finish that. Remember this. Fix that. And suddenly your mind feels like it's drowning. But what if you could train your brain to slow down that reaction? One of the most powerful mental shifts you can make is this. Not everything needs your immediate response. You don't have to reply instantly. You don't have to solve everything today. You don't have to fix every discomfort immediately. People who live simple lives understand something most people forget. Time filters problems. Many things that feel urgent today disappear tomorrow. A stressful message, a minor mistake, someone else's opinion. These things lose power when you give them space. But when your brain reacts instantly to everything, you accidentally make life more complicated. The simplest minds operate differently. Instead of reacting immediately, they pause. They ask, is this actually important? Will this matter next week? Is this worth my mental energy? This small pause changes everything. Because once your brain stops treating everything like an emergency, your mind starts becoming quieter. And when your mind becomes quieter, life becomes simpler. But urgency is not the only trap your brain creates. There is another psychological pattern that silently makes life complicated, and most people don't even realize they're trapped inside it. It's called the comparison loop. The comparison trap that complicates your mind. You might not realize this, but your brain is constantly measuring your life against other people. It happens automatically. You see someone earning more, someone achieving more, someone looking happier, and suddenly your brain starts asking dangerous questions. Why am I not there yet? Am I behind? What am I doing wrong? Comparison feels normal, but psychologically it is one of the fastest ways to complicate your life. Because comparison introduces imaginary pressure. Imagine two people working toward the same goal. The first person focuses on improving themselves. The second person constantly checks what others are doing. Who do you think feels more stressed? The second person. Because now their mind is managing two different realities. Their own life, and everyone else's. This is mentally exhausting. You might have noticed something interesting. The more people compare themselves to others, the more dissatisfied they feel, even when their life is objectively good. Psychologists call this the relative satisfaction effect. Your brain doesn't judge happiness by what you have. It judges happiness by how you compare to others. This is why someone earning a comfortable income can still feel poor, if everyone around them appears richer, and someone living simply can feel content, if they stop measuring themselves against others. Simplicity requires one difficult but powerful decision. You stop competing in games you never chose. The truth is, many of the pressures people feel today are not real responsibilities. They are social comparisons, living in the right place, having the right job, looking a certain way, reaching certain milestones by certain ages. But when you step back and examine these expectations, you realize something strange. Most of them were never your goals. They were just borrowed ambitions, and borrowed ambitions create complicated lives. Because you're constantly chasing things that don't actually bring you peace. The brain that learns to simplify life asks a different question. Do I actually want this? Or was I told I should want it? This question removes enormous pressure from your mind, because once you stop chasing unnecessary expectations, your path becomes clearer. But there is another hidden mental habit that quietly keeps people trapped in complicated lives. And it has nothing to do with success. It has everything to do with overthinking. The overthinking habit that drains your mental energy. Most people believe thinking more leads to better decisions, but psychology shows the opposite is often true. You might not realize this, but overthinking is not a sign of intelligence. It is a sign of mental fear. Your brain keeps replaying scenarios because it is trying to prevent mistakes, but the result is the opposite. More confusion, more doubt, more hesitation. Think about how many times you've replayed a small moment in your mind. A conversation, a message you sent, a decision you made. Your brain asks questions like, well, did I say the wrong thing? Should I have done something different? What if this goes wrong? Overthinking traps your brain in a loop. The past gets analyzed repeatedly. The future gets imagined endlessly, but the present moment disappears. And when your brain lives in past regrets and future worries, life starts feeling heavy. This is why people who overthink often feel mentally exhausted, even if their life isn't objectively stressful. Their brain is constantly simulating problems. The surprising truth is this: simple lives come from decisive minds. People who live simply are not necessarily smarter. They just refuse to stay stuck in endless analysis. They make a decision, then they move forward, not because they are always confident, but because they understand something powerful. Most decisions are not permanent. Most mistakes are not catastrophic. Most problems are not as serious as the brain imagines. Overthinkers believe they must find the perfect answer before acting, but perfection rarely exists, and the longer you wait for perfect clarity, the more complicated life becomes. A trained brain simplifies decisions using one rule: what is good enough for now? Not perfect, not ideal, just good enough. This approach dramatically reduces mental friction, and once decisions become easier, your mind starts feeling lighter. But even if you eliminate overthinking, urgency, and comparison, there is still one deeper mental pattern that keeps people stuck in complicated lives, and it has to do with control. The control illusion that makes life feel harder. You might not realize this, but a large part of your stress comes from trying to control things that were never controllable. Other people's opinions, unexpected problems, future outcomes. Your brain constantly tries to predict and manage these uncertainties, but life refuses to cooperate. Plans change, people behave unpredictably, situations shift, and when reality doesn't match your expectations, your brain feels frustrated. This frustration comes from a simple illusion, the illusion that life should be fully manageable. But simple minds understand something deeper. Life becomes lighter when you stop trying to control everything. Think about two different ways someone might approach uncertainty. Person 1 tries to control every detail. They plan every outcome. They worry about every possibility. When something unexpected happens, they feel overwhelmed. Person 2 prepares, but accepts uncertainty. They focus only on what they can influence. When unexpected things happen, they adapt. Which life feels simpler? Obviously the second, because simplicity isn't created by perfect circumstances. It's created by flexible thinking. Psychologists often talk about the circle of control. Your energy should focus only on 3 areas: what you think, what you do, how you respond. Everything else sits outside your control. But most people reverse this. They spend energy worrying about things they cannot influence, other people's judgments, economic conditions, random outcomes, and this drains mental energy. The brain trained for simplicity constantly asks, "Can I control this?" If the answer is no, the brain releases it, not because it doesn't care, but because caring about uncontrollable things creates unnecessary suffering. Once your brain learns this mental discipline, life starts feeling dramatically lighter. Problems still exist, but they no longer dominate your mind, and this leads to the final transformation. The moment your brain stops fighting life and starts working with it. The awakening you didn't know you needed. Most people spend their lives trying to simplify the outside world. They reorganize schedules. They chase productivity. They remove distractions. But the real transformation happens somewhere deeper, inside the mind. Because the truth is, life was never meant to be perfectly organized. It was meant to be experienced calmly, and calm doesn't come from controlling everything. It comes from training your brain differently. A brain that ignores unnecessary noise. A brain that questions false urgency. A brain that refuses endless comparison. A brain that stops overthinking every possibility. A brain that accepts uncertainty instead of fighting it. When these shifts happen, life doesn't suddenly become easier, but it becomes lighter. The same problems exist, but they no longer dominate your mind. And this is the quiet secret behind people who appear calm, focused, and peaceful. They didn't escape complexity. They trained their brain to stop creating it. But here's the deeper question. If your mind can be trained to simplify life, what else could it be trained to do? Because the next mental skill might be even more powerful. Training your brain to become emotionally unshakable, no matter what happens. And once you understand that, you will never see your mind the same way again. So if you want to explore that transformation, make sure you stay curious and keep training the most powerful tool you will ever have, your mind.